Today, this week, we also witnessed a few other things that happened, which were, I guess, unfortunate and fortunate at the same time. So, petrol decreased this year. This week, I think it decreased by 16 cents. But what was stunning and surprising and actually, frustrating was that while petrol is decreasing, even though honestly it's a marginal decrease of just 16 cents, um, diesel is going on another direction, and not just going on another direction, just skyrocketing by 92 cents.
What do you think caused all of that? What do you think, is the minor thing that, we underlook, but is the major effect in terms of diesel increasing to that 95%?
So,
95 cent actually.
So there are many issues. Obviously, in South Africa, honestly, here's what's happening. Petrol is controlled. Rather, the oil price specifically is controlled by demand and supply. So what demand and supply, the law of demand and supply says is that if there is more demand and less supply, the price soars. So we saw during the pandemic when there was demand was almost non-existent, the price plummeted.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the controlling. Petrol is controlled by, or rather, the price of oil is controlled by the market, and that is a very, very, very dangerous thing, because if we give the market all autonomy on the price of petrol, we are going to find ourselves in situations where we are now paying in South Africa a liter 40 rand, because the market will be indicating that it should go to 40 rand. So the petrol price, or rather, when you look at the petrol price has increased to over 100. A barrel has moved to over $100 a barrel, and this hasn't happened since 2012. The last time the barrel cost $100 was 2012. But right now, it's been a number of issues. As we know, the Ukraine and the Russia thing is happening right now, and Russia being one of the highest exporters of oil,
yeah.
meaning the supply is going to dwindle. Significantly, is going to plummet.
And it's been over 2 months now since the war has been going on.
Exactly. So now with the sanctions coming in, Western markets, Western countries sanctioning Russia, they decrease the prices of oil, or rather they decrease the demand, or rather the supply of oil, general supply. So when general supply decreases, the companies are running all the way to the bank. And we saw this on a story that we're just going to read here, where oil companies are very happy about the situation. Oil companies are breaking records when it comes to profits. And this is something that we talked about yesterday, where if you look at the performances of different oil companies, and we're about to read you the numbers here. If you look at Shell announcing their quarterly reports on Thursday, posting a 9.1 billion in earnings, a record 9.1 billion in earnings. That's compared to 6.4 billion that they did in 2021.
That's major move.
And to be fair, to be clear, it hasn't. I mean, the year hasn't even. We're still in the middle of the year.
We're not even in the middle. We are still in the first quarter of the year.
Second quarter now. Second quarter of the year. So you can for example, look at Shell. Shell posted high profits. Other major oil companies also announced major gains. Let's look at BP. BP announced it hit 6.2 billion in the first quarter, up 4.1 billion last quarter. Let's look at Total. Total has reported 9 billion profit in the first quarter, up 32% from the last quarter in 2021. Also, US-based Chevron has reported 6.3 billion in earnings, up from 5.1 billion in the last quarter. So companies are extremely happy about the situation.
It means the companies are exploiting their customers.
Of course.
Although there's a crisis,
exactly,
they find an opportunity to really exploit the customers.
And you talked about a very important thing: exploitation.
Exploitation of the customers without even caring whether the customers will be able to, or whatever the reason. They just want to exploit them.
Yes, and this is a thing. So what do you think the companies want? the companies want this war to continue. If you are making this much money, you want this war to be ongoing.
You're gonna pray this war must continue so then we can be able to make this large amount of money.
And unfortunately, they don't just pray. What they do is that they will influence the politicians. They will influence Washington, D.C. politicians. They have what you call lobbyists. Oil companies have a well-oiled machine, lobbyists that stay in Washington, D.C., put money on the pockets of politicians via political contributions and say, send money at Ukraine, send them weapons, let the war continue. Because as the war continues, they continue to rake in billions of dollars.
For the first time, I've realized that, if there's a war, the UN must come in and say, let's negotiate and find a peaceful move.
Exactly.
Or any other organizations that is for human rights. But then what's happening here is that nobody is down for that. Everybody is sending weapons, keep killing people, keep fighting, fight Russia, and they make Russia a bad guy. So, but consequently, it affects the oil, it affects the petrol, it affects the diesel. So it's really bad, guys.
Yeah, and I
It's
think maybe
really
let's touch on why diesel is so crippling. The increase in diesel. Diesel is used by our major trucks when we buy some things or when things are being transported to different retail stores. So the increase in diesel really hits the customer in the pocket.
That's true.
And that's why inflation is so out of control. Inflation, I think, is projected to be at least 5 or 6 because what the South African government wants to keep inflation between 3 and 6. But right now it's almost at 6. So meaning any increase or in salaries under 6% is negligible because you are looking at this inflation that's totally out of control. I mean, look at the price of cooking oil. The price of cooking oil is unaffordable. And this affects small businesses, all these because
they
are not
using
profitable
cooking oil,
anymore.
90% of the time.
So this war that's very much obviously going to be encouraged by these numbers that we've just read to you will continue to affect the regular people in the most negative way. Even though obviously, there are a number of things that happen that are positive. The dollar, the rand has become a little more stronger, which, and also petrol barrel prices went down a little bit, which is why we had that decrease of 16 cents. But this is not going to last because the fuel levy that was temporarily reduced or, by Ramaphosa is ending 31st May, meaning I think it was around 1 rand 30 cent increase. So I don't know. So but that thing is about to expire, meaning the 16 cent, 1 rand 30 cent irrelevant. Petrol goes up again as a result of this levy coming back on the 31st May. So what do you think should happen with this levy situation? Levy is revenue, but also we are trying to balance between collecting revenue and making sure that people are able to get to work.
I think, a levy is important because, it's part of tax. But at the same time, it affects people.
In a very negative way.
If the levy is expiring on the 31st of May, it means now the petrol is going to soar, which is going to affect the trucks that are delivering back and forth, which consequently going to affect the food prices because now the trucks are delivering those food prices and other things. So I think, we should really look at the levy. Maybe decrease it a little bit if we keep it.
Yeah, maybe decrease it.
Yeah, maybe decrease it.
Or I think honestly, my opinion is that we should get rid of it this year. As long as the war is ongoing, I think we should look into other. I mean, why did we decrease corporate tax to 27%? I mean, that's such a ridiculous thing to do. Because now you see we have all these other issues that are affecting regular people. I think tax. Corporations at 30%, decrease the levy totally, which helps not just businesses, helps regular people and businesses. So that's just what I think the president will do, but I doubt he does something like that.
The president, you are not robust. I don't know what's wrong with the president, but anyway, that's another topic for another day.
Yeah. So